Pilgrim has over 20 years of experience delivering community and family-centered support services. She empowers youth and families through internal strength building, enhances parent-child relationships, and fosters self-esteem, self-worth, and self-care, using techniques such as mindfulness and medication.
Her expertise also extends to teaching assertiveness skills and providing guidance for holistic personal growth. All right, so now we have Alana.
And Mrs. Tomaro.
Nice to meet you. How can people build relations and coping strategies to deal with suicidal thoughts?
Okay. Some of the things that I suggest that people do is to find someone that they can talk to, someone that they trust, to do things such as learn their triggers. This is something that's not an easy thing to do, but with practice, it's something that is extremely helpful. If you learn your triggers, then you'll be able to sort of figure out prior to the emotion that it's coming on, and you can do other things like affirmation, self-talk. I'm a big believer in mindfulness and meditation. And again, one of the bigger things I think for most of us is just finding someone where we can have a safe space to communicate what we're going through.
Okay. What are some ways to start a conversation about suicide with someone you're concerned about?
Making sure that first, before you even start a conversation, that you're in a safe space. I think that it's important to allow a person to feel comfortable enough to speak about it. Sometimes we seem to be a little abrasive when we're concerned about people that we care about, and it kind of pushes them away from wanting to have that conversation. So encouraging them to talk to you, being a good listener, because we can listen and talk over a person and then they feel like they're not being heard. So letting them feel like they're being heard, no judgment, spending as much time as you can with that person until they feel, or you feel that they're in a comfortable space to be able to change their mind. And definitely encourage them to do things that will assist them going forward, like finding someone to talk to if that means you, and encourage them to seek help from someone else who would be able to give them the strength to continue without stepping into those the actual action of the thoughts.
Okay. Really good to know, really good information to have. My other question would be, being a therapist sometimes takes a toll. So what are self-care strategies do you use to maintain your well-being?
So for me, I preach affirmations, mindfulness, meditation to all of my clients. I do that myself, but I think one of the things that helps me most is my family. I'm a family person. I love being with my family, especially my grandchildren. I also like to do things that I enjoy. So games on my phone, movies, reading a book. I like crime shows, so believe it or not, as gory and stuff as that may sound, that kind of puts me in a nice well space. And the basic things, hot bath.
That's nice. I also wanted to say that I've been going to therapy since I was in 6th grade. And so it helped me a lot to realize things that I never did before. It made me realize this is how I'm feeling, this is the way that I should talk about it, this is the way that I should try to handle things instead of just going in for the gun and just go 0 to 100 and start yelling and everything.
One of the things that's important for people to understand about therapy is that it's not something that you do because you are crazy or you're having some kind of long-term issues. I think therapy is good for all of us, whether it be with a professional therapist or a family member or a friend, just to be able to talk. You'd be surprised at things that come out. I know you know from being in therapy. You can go in and sit down with your therapist like, I have nothing to talk about today. And before you know it, your 45 minutes turns into an hour. So just being able to talk about situations that's going on in your daily life is it's a good help.
Hmm. It really is. um, Also, what does early intervention look like?
So this is one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss. Again, when you're dealing with people, everybody is different. So sometimes you may notice that there needs to be an intervention, and sometimes you won't. But again, if you're recognizing that someone appears to be in a situation where it's questionable, the thing would be communicating, opening up that opportunity for them to sit down and talk to you, allowing them a safe space for them to express how they feel. Listen. When you're listening, don't think of what you're going to say next. Like, really listen to what they have to say. Make sure that you are able to point them in the direction of another person, maybe. Sometimes you may not, especially when it's teens with teens, kids with kids, you may not have the ability to provide them the correct information or the words to you. So go to someone else, have someone else intervene, have them speak to someone else. And another important thing, something that I've heard over and over with kids who are contemplating, is the judgment. People don't decide to kill themselves because they don't think other people care about them. Well, let me rephrase that. It's not because they don't love you that they make these decisions. In the moment, they just want to escape. They don't want to be where they are, in the situations they are. They feel that this is the only way out. So to say things like, you're doing this, but you have people that love you. You have people, that's a really good thing for them to know. But it has to be, the things that you say to people have to be in a way that don't guilt them into feeling the way that, make them feel guilty for feeling the way that they feel. So the non-judgment piece is extremely important and sometimes kind of difficult to put into words.
Okay. What are the warning signs that we should look out for if someone is suicidal, and what can we do to help?
Some of the signs may include their behavior. They're talking differently, sleeping more, sleeping less. You may notice that they're dressing differently. They're separating themselves from the family or friends. They're not doing some of the things that they typically would do that makes them feel good. They may mention it. I don't want to be here anymore, or I feel like killing myself. So conversations might lead you to believe it. What are some other things? Let me see. I guess those are the bigger ones. Sometimes it's not something that is extremely obvious. I have had young people in my office where I've had communications with the parent, and the parent is like, oh no, my kid is great, everything's wonderful. But then when you talk to the kids, you can see something totally different. So noticing the signs is not always an easy thing.
Yeah, I'm going to go off by a show here. There's this show called The Bear. It's on Hulu. And there's an older brother in the character of the show who actually killed themselves. And before he did that, it seemed like he was acting okay and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, and no one did not notice the signs that he felt that way or anything.
Yeah, it's later on, I'm pretty sure that people sit back and think about things that like, oh wow, didn't notice this, didn't notice that. But it can definitely slip you on your everyday. You know, you're just going with the flow, everything seems normal. People do tend to show you what they want you to believe. So it's not always an easy thing to notice beforehand.
Mm. Are there any parting thoughts or pieces of advice you can give to the audience if they or someone they know is dealing with suicidal thoughts?
So there's a psychologist named Chad Buck. He created an acronym that I think is important for all of us to keep in mind when we talk about doing things that we can do to help with recognizing or assisting in a situation. So he made an acronym for BELIEVE. Believe the suicidal comments or gestures and believe that they are serious. Engage in conversation about thoughts and feelings. Listen without judging or arguing. Investigate intent and access to lethal means. Express empathy for the person and situation. Validate how difficult and painful this is for the individual, and encourage them to seek support and escort them to a person that may be helpful. And if we keep that acronym, BELIEVE, in our minds when we are discussing, even just talking to people across the board, you never know who is thinking about suicide. So just keeping something like this in your mind and being able to reference it when you are communicating with someone who you think may be attempting to hurt themselves, I think that this would be helpful in the long run. And be nice to people. Always be kind. You never, never, never know who you're dealing with. Be nice. That's it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome.